Alrighty, guys, we're back for Selesnya Blink, and this is an Outlaws at Thunder Junction standard brew, and I'm Red Cat. Let's briefly go over the deck, then hop right into some ranked. Got another round in here, so double X, 2 and a white sorcery speed. Exile any number of creatures you control, then return them to the battlefield under their owner's control. Then repeat this process X more times. Oh my goodness. My hope is that a sweet spot for this is going to be at 5 mana, blink your things twice. Sounds pretty cool, man. We do have more ways to blink some important things in here, like Fortune Loyal Steed. This is a 3 mana, 2/4 legendary creature. When it ETBs, you scry 2. It also has Saddle for 1, and when it attacks while saddled, at the end of combat, exile it and up to 1 creature that's saddled at this turn, then return those cards to the battlefield under their owner's control. Nice, pretty cool creature, man. Let's have a couple touch the Spirit Realm for the bottom channel ability to help us blink things, and then also here on the top end, we have an Eternal Wanderer with that +1 helping us blink important creatures. So what on earth do we not mind blinking in here? I want to bring attention to Boulderbranch Golem. It's a 4 of in the build. 7 mana, 6/5. When it ETBs, you gain life equal to its power. But it also has Prototype. For just 4 mana, it's a 3/3 instead. Okay, that brings me to the life gain side of the deck. So I think Boulderbranch Golem is actually going to be pretty terrific in here. And I think it would be pretty cool to have the Golem on turn 4, gain a little bit of life, hopefully survive the turn, go into turn 5 with another round and blink the Golem twice, gain 12? That doesn't seem too bad, man, especially if you have a little bit of setup with your other creatures too. So the life gain side of things here, we have Resplendent Angel, actually as a 3 of, just 2 different artworks. So Resplendent Angel is a 3 mana 3/3 with flying. At the beginning of each end step, if you gained 5 or more life this turn, you create a 4/4 white angel creature token with flying and vigilance. So it has a bottom ability for 3 triple white. Until the end of turn, Resplendent Angel gets +2/+2 and gains a lifelink, which I don't think is going to be unheard of to actually activate that ability from time and time again. Okay, guys, more ways to gain life in here. We have Lunarch Veteran, of course, caring that our creatures are spamming the board state off of like another round and stuff, right? So all 4 of them, I think it's going to be great. Same concept with Case of the Uneaten Feast, that top ability, whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 1 life. Other ETB effect creatures that we wouldn't mind bouncing is like Novice Inspector, giving us those clues, and clues being artifacts is going to be a little bit important, because we also have a bunch of enchantments packed in, like all 4 Spirited Companions with the ETB to draw a card. It's going to keep our hand nice and stocked up. Of course, other enchantments like Touch the Spirit Realm acting as removal. We also have Prayer of Binding as more enchantment removal. This has Flash, and also when it ETBs, you gain 2 life as well, so it fits the life gain theme. So why bother having all these artifacts and enchantments together? Of course, Roadside Reliquary being in the mana base. Also in the mana base, while we're over here, right? Of course, Who Endures, Seed of the Empire made the cut. I got the Blossoming Sands this time around just to further fit the life gain theme, but we also have Mirrex, Restless Prairie. All that stuff is very noteworthy, I would say. Okay, we do have more ETB creatures that we don't mind blinking at all. This is Bristlebud Farmer. It's a 4 mana 5/5 with Trample. That's pretty good stats. Now, when it ETBs, you create a couple food tokens. Of course, the food tokens kind of fit like having the artifacts in here for the Roadside Reliquary, but also fits like the life gain theme too. And whenever Bristlebud Farmer attacks, you may sacrifice a food. If you do, mill 3 cards. You may put a permanent card from among them into your hand. Pretty cool card, man. Pretty good, dare I say. Dare I say indeed. I don't think we've seen this too much yet, but I do think it's going to be pretty good in here. So more things on the top end, we have Bramble Wurm here. Instead of Titan of Industry making the honorable mentions for a good reason. Very powerful card, very powerful ETBs. The triple green might hold us up every now and then. The deck is heavily leaning towards white, and so is the mana base. Bramble Wurm does something similar, where when it ETBs, you gain that 5 life, but it also has this bottom ability for 2 and a green. You can exile it from your graveyard, then gain 5 life. I like that, especially with the Resplendent Angel in here. So yeah, no Titan of Industry this time around, but you could totally trade him out if you got the Titans, I suppose. Bramble Wurm is also pretty budget friendly, being only an uncommon. Also, Steel Seraph made the cut, guys. Another prototype. Of course, we wouldn't mind blinking and just having a 5/4 flying Steel Seraph. Also, being able to give a lifelink to your key creatures and swinging in totally fits the life gain theme. Okay, guys, we do our dandiest to save the more in-depth discussion for the end of the video. In the meantime, let's go ahead, take this into some ranked and see how we do. Wait a minute, we have some other honorable mentions real quick. So, holy cow, almost made the cut. Same thing with Kutsil's Flanker. Food Coma almost took the place of the Prayer of Binding. It could be pretty neat, but it only hits creatures. And then Combat Thresher, as well as like the other prototype cards, almost made the cut too. Okay, now let's take it into some ranked and see how we do. Right into that first game, guys. Let's go. All right, what am I expecting from the build? I think it's going to be super janky. I think it's going to be so janky, but bro, we're going to pop off today, darn it. We're going to gain so much life off of this Boulderbranch. Like, there's a big reason that I have all 4 of them in here. I really want to see it do a thing. Opponent goes first. This is probably a pretty slow hand, right? Like, compared to what we could have seen. We'll give it a shot, though, right? If we do have the double white necessary, if we save the Mirrex back for our turn 3. 26 mana total, too. We should be able to hit the 4 on time for the Boulderbranch. Up the Beanstalk should probably be concerning for us. Okay, come on, mana off the top for a little while here. I wouldn't mind seeing mana for like the next 2 to 3 turns, honestly. As far as headquarters, up the Beanstalk number 2 coming down. Lunarch Veteran. I'd call that a couple turns late at this point. We could get Fortune down and set up for a blink next turn. But then we don't have double white when it comes time for the Steel Seraph. Right now we have double white for Steel Seraph. And we'll get Fortune down. There's so much mana packed in, dude. So got 23 land in the build. We also get the Scry. Roadside Reliquary not helping us with the Steel Seraph. Or, well, we do have... Okay, we should probably keep that on top then, right? I'm going to send the Bramble Wurm. It's pretty far away for now. And probably won't help us too much against 5-color Atraxa right now, right? Or Domain, or whatever we want to call the opponent's deck. I'm going to keep the Reliquary on top. Make sure we hit the 4 for the Boulderbranch and maybe get the blink in the first game here, huh? Hopefully they don't keep the blue source open. Or removal for that matter. I suppose they could do that too. Still be worth playing our 4-drop next turn, I would say. Okay, they're keeping it open. Right. Stay on task, I suppose. Let's get the Boulderbranch Golem down. Come on, Golem, hit this board. Oh, buddy. All right, gaining 3. I wonder if the opponent's actually going to let us get this blink. They have 3 open, so I really doubt it. Leyline, Binding, you monster, but also very expected here, right? But we need to see some mana off the top as the double green in the Bristlebud Farmer and the double white in the Steel Seraph is not looking terrific right now with what we're seeing on the board. We could have sent like Roadside Reliquary. Maybe we could draw off of it, I suppose. Well, we should probably wait to try to draw 2 off of it though. Yeah, I've been... Ooh, another Touch the Spirit Realm. So I suppose we could... First thought is, of course, we need to save this for removal, but now I'm thinking the channel, just for the sake of actually blinking the Golem, too. Oh, but we won't have a white source if we play Lunarch Veteran. Actually, guys, the mana is not lining up here at all. I suppose we'll swing with the Golem and see if they try to pick it up, and then we have Touch of the Spirit Realm ability available, which specifically reads here, for the channel, you discard it, of course, and then exile target artifact or creature, return it to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. So we'd want to keep that open for the opponent's turn, in case they wanted to do anything to the Golem. Alright, we'll end the turn, yeah. Yeah, mana off the top again for like the next few turns would be terrific for us. Archangel, all right. You think they're going to double down on the golem? They might. They are. All right. So we'll go ahead and blink it. Kind of works out really nicely for us, huh? They don't get any life gain there. They do get the swing with the Stomper for the turn. But we get a 6/5 golem back. We gained 6 there too. That's pretty sick, man. Okay, companion. We could just go, yeah, it's too bad. Too bad the mana base is holding us up a little bit. We could go touch the Spirit Realm, pick up the Archangel, and get a nice swing in. I don't think we'd want to pick up the Stomper. We'd want to hit the Archangel. And doing that this turn, getting the enchantment down, maybe we keep Golem around and get a draw 2 on the Reliquary. That's possible. I'm not sure that that's like the greatest thing to do. But it's definitely not like a bad turn based on just having the 4 mana here, right? They do go for the chump. So I do wonder then. I don't think they'd play a Sunfall just for 1 golem, right? Well, they do play a Sunfall just for 1 golem. I guess that makes a lot of sense. The double up the Beanstalk, restocking their hand completely. More Sunfalls in the build. So yeah, no, I guess it does make sense just because of those up the Beanstalks restocking for them. Okay, Boulderbranch. We're kinda in trouble here, huh? Maybe we should go on the draw with the companion. See if we can see a white source. A lot of mana still packed into this list, guys. At 26, we should have definitely been able to see our 5th. I'm gonna say, instead of spending all of the mana, I think we're gonna draw 1 here. Let's risk it with the companion. Mana! Let's go. It's tapped mana, but it's still, like, nonetheless, now we're not going to be held up on the double green with the Farmer and the double white on the Steel Seraph, and the Eternal Wanderer for that matter, too, but we're still 1 mana short for the Eternal Wanderer. Yeah, dude, talk about a tough time finding the mana here in the first one, but overall, I'm pretty satisfied with what our deck was able to do with just the 4 mana. Bumper coming down. The opponent has officially drawn 10 more cards than us, guys. Another Boulderbranch. Okay. Interesting, interesting. So we could go Lunarch Veteran into Boulderbranch. That might be a very tempting second Sunfall. Okay. At this point in the game, too, though, the opponent's just waiting to draw the top end, or they already have the top end in hand anyways. So we're just going to go for it. We might as well. Okay, no attacks because Stomper can block. They activate Incubator to get a 1/1. So that must mean no second Sunfall, unless they just... No, I don't think that would make much sense. Oh, it is Sunfall number 2. I guess they wanted the extra counter on the Incubator, or they drew into Sunfall, right? Like, they activated the Incubator last turn thinking that they didn't have it. Oh, Archangel. Okay. Another round. Oh no, guys, that would have been so sick with our board state. We actually had like 3 things on the board. Well, at least we have 5 mana, so if we can start getting more stuff down, we can think about blinking it a few times. I'm going Bristlebud Farmer, huh? Let's do it. Yeah, since we got... Yeah, we might as well. Get a couple food tokens and then actually have an artifact and an enchantment still left on the board if we have to go for the Reliquary, right? And for this, as far as this first game goes, we don't want to talk about 27 mana yet. 26 should still be fine enough for what this deck is trying to do. Although the whole time we've kind of been hoping just to see more off the top, so definitely noteworthy then. Yeah, one thing, if we would have went like Boulderbranch again and then they removed it, we would have still been an artifact down from drawing 2 off the Reliquary. But since we did the Bristlebud Farmer, if they remove that, at least we still got the food then to pair with that enchantment. That makes sense to me. Of course, we'd want more creatures on the board. Okay, Atraxa comes down, draws them 3. Hey, maybe we'll be able to gain enough life and they just like mill themselves out or something. Of course, they could just stop playing things at some point, so. And then stall that way. But hey, you never know, I guess. Eternal Wanderer is pretty good. Okay, Blossoming Sand. So it is a tap land, but at least it's a land. I'm not complaining too much here. They don't have an open white source for the Leyline Binding. Oh, Emodane's Recruiter, very nice. And they definitely have enough mana. Pop off next turn with that Herd Migration. Right? Yeah. They have so much mana over. They have 15. They go Herd Migration, Emodane's Recruiter, full swing. So now's the turn to gain as much as possible, if we can, which I don't think we can. I'll go up to 26. We'll have 2 blockers on the ground, but they got 10 in the air here. Okay. So if Blossoming Sands was an untapped land, then Eternal Wanderer could have come down. Still same concept, but I think we would have survived the Herd Migration onslaught. 1 second, opponent. I am pondering, my friend. I think we're just going to go Boulderbranch, gain 3 up to 27, and just let the opponent play the rest out, right? Other than that, we could blink the farmer twice, get a bunch of food. We could draw on the Reliquary. It's fine. Let's get that golem down. Totally fine. Honestly, I think, had we seen more mana earlier, I think we could have been doing some really cool things here, and I think this Eternal Wanderer would have been terrific as well. Suppose there's a chance of survival, but I don't believe so. Not with 10 in the air, 2 blocks on the ground. We block Stomper. Oh, plus Leyline Binding is only 1 mana too, so they get to take 1 of the blockers away. We have 1 blocker. They got 3. They got 5 3/3s in the Herd Migration, another 3 in the Recruiter as well. So the best block is the Stomper, and then I'm pretty sure they got 27 on this board. Wait, right? 10, 25, 28, yes. Unfortunately, the Recruiter does us in, and the best block is still the Stomper there. With the food costing 2, we can't do that. The opponent is waiting here a second. I suppose they could also like go Leyline Binding number 3 if they're concerned about the blocks for some reason. There's the Recruiter. Oh, they start with the 2/2 Knights. Yeah, they had so much mana, guys. Opponent, share some of that mana, huh? Jeez. Oh, plus it gains 1. Good game, opponent. I completely forgot the Emodane's Recruiter also gives everything +1/+0. Not so much forgetting, so much as I was just doing the math that was already on the board, you know what I mean? -14. Huh. We were close, guys. No, but seriously, at any point, if we could have seen a little bit more mana a little sooner, I think I mean, first of all, we definitely could have gained enough to get around a swing like that, right? With this, like, with how the deck is set up to gain a ridiculous amount off of those golems. Yeah. All right, let's see if we see a little bit more mana. If we don't, maybe we'll consider in the middle of the video going up to 27, see if that helps us a little bit. I think we should be fine overall. Seeing the tapped lands there was particularly bad too, but 4 in our opener. We actually have early things to do. Opponent goes first. I see nothing wrong with this as long as we don't flood out, right? And we'll hold on to Blossoming Sand. We'll hold on to the tap lands for now. We'll actually do the turn 1 and turn 2 things here. Well, depending on what we draw too, but... Elesh Norn. Nice. Alright, Novice Inspector. I'd love to see Elesh Norn do a thing today. That'd be awesome. Okay, most likely spot removal, I would say. It's like I said, we're going to actually do the turn 1 and turn 2 thing, so we get the untapped land down first. We now have the 5 mana in hand for the Elesh Norn when it comes time. Attempt the swing. It's going to be Virtue. No. That's pretty good. That's pretty good for them. Running right into it, but do we, like, not swing into it? Maybe. Maybe there's something to be said about holding it back. Blossoming Sands, okay. Alright, that's enough mana for now. Depending on what we see, we're probably just going to play a few turns of getting these tap lands down. And for 2, we take that. The goal here... Uh-oh, more mana. The goal here, of course, is to not worry too much about the opponent swinging. The goal is to get to that point where we're gaining so much life off of everything else in here. Okay, we do have a draw on the clue, but we'll save it for the opponent's turn. The chump blocker with companion, probably not the best idea based on what we have in hand here. So looking at this hand and then comparing it to what we saw in the last game, we're like, oh, we definitely don't want to go up to 27, you know what I mean? So that happens sometimes with Magic. It's kind of like back and forth. One game you just don't see the mana, the next game you see too much. But hopefully, like if it's land off the top, I'll call it a flood. Hopefully we don't see land for the next couple turns, though. We'll go for the draw now. Totally fine. Yeah, they're doing the full swing. We're probably going to keep Companion on the board. Resplendent. Okay. Okay. Yeah, no blocks. No blocks. It's going to be... It's going to be tough to keep something on the board, I would say, against Orzhov. So if we just go like turn 4 Resplendent Angel, it's probably just spot removal, especially if they keep this mana open. Oh, Eiganjo. Okay. Instead of the... At least it's utility land, first of all. Instead of Sands this time, we'll get the Restless Prairie down. We could keep Seed of the Empire open to take out Lord Skitter off of a swing. I'm almost positive that the Resplendent Angel dies to spot removal. I guess better Resplendent Angel than the Elesh Norn, right? Right? I hope so. We also have Virtue of Loyalty potentially coming down next turn, which could be very scary with this Lord Skitter. So maybe just keeping that Seed of the Empire would have been a little better. Because if they see their 5th, it is going to be go for the throw on the Resplendent Angel. Elesh Norn might have a chance of survival. Second Virtue, I hope they miss their mana because these Virtues a couple turns in a row would be rough business. And the big question here then too is like, when do we start chumping with this Companion? Then we won't have anything for another round. We got 7, 8, 9 down to 4. I suppose while we have the Companion, we should actually chump here then, right? This time around, the deck not putting up much of a fight, I would say. Elesh Norn is a good blocker, and it's land! Oh, no, guys. Alright, Elesh Norn, by some miracle, has to survive. It has to be on the board for the block next turn, as we are taking... Oh, wait. We're dead regardless, dude. They got 7 on the board even after the Lord Skitter block. Oh, no. Was there any way around it? Yeah, actually. Well, no, probably not. But we could have played Blossoming Sands, held the 4 open, kept the Seed of the Empire. Right? So Blossoming Sands gains us up to 8, and then we pop the Lord Skitter off the seat, and they swing for 7. Good game? Question mark? Yeah, that kind of sucks. I would call this a flood. I would. But also, we could have survived one extra turn, potentially, had I just played the Blossoming Sands and kept the Seat of the Empire. There's no guarantees for like what the opponent actually had in their hand after the fact, but all right, I guess one game not seeing the mana on time, one game seeing a little bit too much mana. I guess third time's the charm, huh? Let's see it. And then like maybe depending on the third and fourth game, maybe we'll talk more about like what we could do to the mana base. Maybe something with the curve could be adjusted a little bit to kind of make the mana base feel a little bit better too, right? Oh, we go first, huh? Oh, okay. I'm keeping it. Probably start with the Blossoming Sands. Well, probably not. I changed my mind. That would be... Since we have 2 1-drops in hand, we start with the untapped source. Then next turn we can play Blossoming Sands in the other 1-drop. That would be totally fine. Another round. Okay, this could be fun. This could be very fun. Do they trade? No. Probably not, right? Okay, I'll swing. They know we have 2 of them now, too. Like okay, so we do cheese the 1 through, luckily. So we could have swung before we played anything out, but I wasn't even thinking twice about the swing. So Prayer of Binding, the only removal in hand, but everything else I like a little bit too much. And if I go through the whole video today and another round it doesn't do the thing, then I'd feel pretty bad. So we're going to get rid of the removal. Prayer of Binding. Especially since we don't have the 4th mana yet too, so... Yeah, the goal, of course, like get the Steel Seraph down and at least use another round as a 3-mana card. Blossoming Sands. Okay, and before combat, of course, Steel Seraph affects combat. Gain some life. We could give Lunarch Veteran. Still don't think they end up blocking here, so I think it's just lifelink, right? Just gain even more, keep us in the game a little bit longer. We cheese them both through, down to 17. Not the Steel Seraph, opponent. Anything but that. It does get around Go for the Throat, so... And Go for the Throat is still like the main removal that I'm seeing. Ton of bones getting through. They can cast a permanent. Luckily, they do not have 4 mana. So they decline for now. Oh, more tapped land, huh? So we start with the swing and then go for another round. And get the Prairie down over the Blossoming Sands, I would say. Very likely. Still feeling like it's going to be some form of spot removal, but... Yeah. Hopefully we're okay. And we'll go lifelink. Alright, let's see it. It's not a bad blink, and I'm doing it now while we can, huh? X is 0. Confirm 0. Let's do this, man. It's gonna be awesome. Because Steel Seraph will be a 5/4 at that point then. Lunarch Veteran pops off a whole bunch, gaining a lot of life here. Going up to 31. And Restless Prairie can't power up next turn, unfortunately, although that would be pretty good. Nothing from the opponent. It must be a Go for the Throat holding them up for the Steel Seraph. Yoldred comes down. My goodness. Mill a Spirited Companion. That would have been pretty good. Get that draw. Lunarch Veteran. Sure, why not, right? Okay, so going down to 28. We just play it all out, I suppose, right? Full swing, they got a good block into the Veteran. We could bring it back into the air, maybe. I don't think they lose the tiny bones. We could bring a veteran into the air off the Steel Seraph. I might do that. Let's get the Blossoming Sands down. Yeah, I think maybe we just bring a veteran into the air. Flying. They're going to gain 2. If they block on the ground, we'll bring that into the air too. I think we keep it back though. We just swing for 6. Right? Because hopefully we can power up Restless Prairie next turn. They're going back up to 8. I'm not going to play around a board wipe. We're just going in. Because if they wipe the board, that Shieldred's gone too, which could be really good for us. The Hellraiser. Okay. Tiny Bones. They commit a crime with the joins up. They go for the swing. We go no blocks. GG opponent. Very nice, guys. Going up against mono black like that. That was pretty sick, actually. I can almost guarantee that the Steel Seraph was holding them up with a go for the throat in their hand, right? And they're probably thinking, like, go for the throat. There's probably going to be something better in the opponent's deck. Actually, like, they might have seen the Bristlebud Farmer, too. But they wouldn't want to hit a Lunarch Veteran with a go for the throat, necessarily. We just bring it back as Luminous Phantom, which is just a flyer in the air getting around the Shieldred anyways. Yeah, next turn, power up the Prairie, swing on in. Good stuff, man. I like it. So they could have held blockers on the ground, but we could have given flying to the Prairie, is the thing. So, Steel Seraph, really doing the thing there. Very nice. You like to see it, man. Another round. Totally doing the thing there, too. Blinking the prototype creature. That's a good chunk of extra damage off of that Seraph. All right, let's keep the ball rolling here, huh? Might be the last game of the evening, unfortunately. But I'm pretty confident after that last one that we can end on a high note, honestly. When it goes first, a little bit of removal. A little bit slow, but not too bad. Draw off of Companion on 2 is going to be pretty good. A good chunk of life gain once we see the 4th, too. I'm going to keep this. I don't mind this hand at all. Ooh, okay. Touch the Spirit Realm is going to be pretty good. Razorverge Thicket. Goldvein Hydra for 1. All right, all right. There's our 4th. Let's draw off of the Companion. Okay, there's our other 4th if we want an untapped one, right? Maybe. Oh, nice. Tumblewag. Right, no blocks. We probably want to remove the Tumblewag, right? Another tap land. We got Prayer of Binding for the Goldvein next. It's probably Tumblewag. The Saddle for 2. They could drop something from their hand. Saddle for 2. Double the Goldvein Hydra, which could be pretty scary. All right. I've decided on the Tumblewag. And then there's our untapped source for the Prayer of Binding when it comes time. We're going to go no attacks, obviously. Trample Vigilance Haste on the Hydra is no joke. Clay Champion. Dude, nice. They're going maxed out on green for a nice chunky 8/8 here. I want to keep the Companion around for a little while longer in case we actually end up finding some of our blink stuff. Okay, Lunarch Veteran. I suppose we keep Prayer of Binding. Well, Snakeskin Veil could very well be in this list, especially since it looks like Selesnya counters, which actually looks pretty good so far. Yeah, instead of going for the flash, we're just going to play this, and we have the chump for Clay Champion, but they could play like Kodama of the West Tree or something. They could really surprise us. So we're going to take the Clay Champion, gain 2, and then just take the 2 from the Hydra. Yeah, and even though it has flash, we don't want to run right into a Snakeskin Veil, which would be devastating for us. Okay, take the 2. We just gained that off the Prayer of Binding. Hopeful Initiate, they still got 4, 2 cards in hand. Roaming Throne. Dude, what do you call? Human. Okay. Okay. So the ward on that's going to be a bit of an issue, but we should be fine. We don't need Prayer of Binding for the turn. I think we might just set a little bit more up here. Fortune was a good draw. We're not swinging yet, but I think it's still going to be Restless Prairie for the turn. Oh. Lunarch Veteran first. We actually have enough mana to do the things in the right order, so let's do that. Gain a little bit, scry 2, and I think this scry could be huge for us. Bramble Wurm, 7 mana, huh? We don't need the plains, we know that much. We have 5 on the board, 1 in hand. We could get to that point, but I'm actually going to send the Bramble Wurm too, and hopefully I don't end up regretting that. Not 100% sure what we're searching for, because we also could have kept the plains, because that'll be the 7th when it comes time, but I think it's okay to send both of those. Okay. No attacks. End the turn. Hopefully we can get a good swing with the Fortune next turn, but something tells me they're going to keep some blockers up. Swing, swing. Keeping the Hydra back. They must not care too much about the ramp on there. And the human... That goes twice, huh? Snakeskin Veil in hand would kill the Fortune, but is probably worth the risk of the block because then Snakeskin Veil is out of their hand, right? We could also chump. Since this doesn't have trample, we should probably chump. How do you guys feel about that? Just keeps us in the game for a little bit longer. Endures. Okay. Hopefully I don't regret sending that Bramble Wurm. Probably start with Fortune. Get the swing. Got 2 cards in hand, 5 cards open. Prayer of Binding is... It is a flash enchantment. We can actually start... Like, we could start with the draw, or we could get Boulderbranch down and blink that instead. But then we don't have the Prayer of Binding open. I think I'm going with the draw on the companion here. That's probably better than the Lifegain right now when we're not in direct danger. Right? I think so. We'll see what ends up happening. Also, Who Endures can take out the throne if we need to. They take the 2. We'll get the scry going before the draw. I'd say we don't need this, but the Resplendent Angel, now that's interesting. 1, 2. If we go... Yeah, I'm going to draw the Resplendent Angel. I like it. I like it. And then we'll go Lunarch Veteran. Blossoming Sands, right? And Resplendent Angel. Hopefully Initiate is going to get a little out of hand, but we should be okay overall. Actually, we'll have 7 if we just want to play the Boulderbranch next turn as a 7-mana card. Like, we could play it at 7, then blink it with the Fortune potentially. Oh, they're going to go ahead and get their Tumblewag back with the Initiate. Actually, really neat combo with the Roaming Throne there, then. As a matter of fact, they could have done that first and then blocked the Fortune, right? Double blocked to let the... Oh, but then the Tumblewag would have died. I guess they wanted Tumblewag regardless here. The second throne they call a Brushwag. Okay. That's sick. That's pretty cool. What are we thinking? Just take the 8? Gain a whole bunch of life next turn? I think we can take the 8 quite successfully. Because with all this on the board, we want to think, like, what if we see another round off the top or something? Okay, Lunarch Veteran. Gain. Just play the Boulderbranch as a 4-mana card. We could get Veteran down, Boulderbranch, link the Boulderbranch with the Fortune, or we just do all that, keep the Veteran back. We could also swing in the air with Resplendent for 5. Do a similar concept, I suppose. As long as we have enough chump blockers and enough life gain, we should be okay. All right, I'm going. Boonders, maxing out the Golem. Gain 6 here. This is going to be awesome, dude. They do have a good block with the Fortune, but I'm not worried about it. Yeah, I'm not going to worry about it. We are going to swing in the air too. Keep the blocker back there. Hopefully we're okay. So they have a good block, but we get the blink with the Golem regardless here. We don't get to blink the Loyal Steed, unfortunately, since it hit the graveyard. Yep, so we gain 1 because it left off the Phantom. We get a 4/4. Pretty good turn, I would say, honestly, dude. Another Tumblewag. Guys, the opponent's deck is pretty sick, huh? 2 just the Lesnia builds going head-to-head like this, and like they're both way off meta, I would say. This is awesome, man. This is awesome. So they crew up the one Tumblewag with the other Tumblewag, of course. Going on all in the Hydra. Oh crap, dude. Oh, okay, it's only a 7/7, dude. I like when I saw all those oh, they do get to double it though twice. They get to double it twice because of the throne. Ah, bro, wait a minute. Okay, well, first of all, we're at 24. Okay. You want to keep the Boulderbranch around. Could block with the Angel. Oh, crap, dude. Oh, crap. Maybe we keep the Angel around since they're at 13. I am pondering, my friend. Yeah, either way, we exile Hydra next turn. We just have to, like, figure out... We have to figure out the blocks. Do we want to keep the Golem around, or do we want to keep the Angel around? I think we want to keep the Angel around because it has Vigilance, and we're getting to that point in the game, right? All right, take 23. Also, if we blocked with the Angel, we'd have to block with the Companion too. Uh-oh, guys, Snakeskin Veil could end this. Oh, they get rid of the Angel anyways. Okay. Well, luckily we gained 2 off the Phantom there, back up to 3. Not having the Angel's rough. Land off the top, that's not good. They still have 1 open. Yeah, for a second there, I thought it was going to be like Snakeskin Veil on the Goldvein Hydra, and then 24 would have gotten through. Because that would have happened before we gained life off the Phantom then. So we do have Resplendent Angel in the air for 5. We have the Restless Prairie. We're going to play the land regardless. Yeah, the trample on the Hydra is super scary. We'd gain... Let's see. We're not gaining too much, unfortunately. Yeah, losing that Angel's rough. We're doing it now before they can draw into like a Snakeskin Veil too. The other Lunarch Veteran down. We don't have great swings now because we're going to need to keep the blockers back. I think this is heavily leaning towards the opponent. How cool of a list is this? The Roaming Throne just really popping off with that Tumblewag. I wasn't expecting it to do that much. Goldvein Hydra. Dude, all right. Opponent's list is kind of awesome, isn't it? So they can go ahead and just double Hydra into oblivion here off of 2 Tumblewags. Scary, scary business, huh? Definitely letting them play this out. They get to double it, then double it, and then double it, and then double it. Training goes off a couple times too. That is 128 Gold Vein Hydra. Hey, good game, opponent. Let's go ahead and we'll properly block here for sure. And then we'll double block the other Tumblewag, actually. The Hydra's getting through regardless. Very cool stuff, man. I think we actually had a chance there, though, didn't we? Like, you know, it didn't have to be the second Hydra. It didn't have to be a perfect spot removal for our token, too, right? Like, there was a lot of little things that had to line up for the opponent, I would say. I guess that's the same concept for us, too. Maybe that one risky swing off the fortune when we lost the fortune, right? But I'll tell you what, the thrones were holding us up on the ground regardless, and we would have had a lot of trouble swinging with the fortune for the rest of that game, especially with the wards too on those thrones as well. All right, guys, let's go ahead and go over the deck list again here. Very, very janky, but I actually really liked it. I like builds like this, and actually I just like blink builds in general. I think it's just a really neat concept. These prototypes are always awesome. But yeah, I would put it on the do not craft list for sure. If you end up having all the cards already, this could be a really fun one. If it looked fun to you, then it's probably gonna be fun for you. You know what I mean? It's one of those builds. But it's also like it's probably not gonna give you a positive win rate by any means, especially in ranked. So that's why we have to say put it on the do not craft list. But some of the cards are pretty budget, right? The Boulderbranch Golem is only common. The Bramble Wurm is uncommon. That's all pretty sick. But then there's also a lot of expensive stuff too. Of course, Elesh Norn being a mythic, Bristlebud being a mythic. The mana base, I mean, the mana base is a mana base. I guess we're rocking the Blossoming Sands, which isn't that bad, right? That's only a common dual land. Same concept with the Roadside Reliquaries actually too. And you know what? A lot of the front end here, like Spirited Companion's only common as well. You know what? The Lunarch Veteran is only common too. Man, maybe I should have just tried making it a budget list instead of putting some of the more expensive stuff in. But then we'd be losing a lot too, right? Like Fortune's a rare. Another round is a rare too. Would have loved to see another round do a little bit more today. It's one of those things, a very small sample size, more testing required, but I still think even with more testing, the deck is going to end up being pretty janky. There's a really good reason we only got one Elesh Norn, Mother of Machines, in here. By the time it actually comes out onto the board, the opponent's already removed everything else anyways, and your hand is already relatively empty. And so like, and it needs to survive the whole turn for it to actually start doing things too. But still, once it's out there, if it actually remains out there, this could be pretty disgusting. And there's actually a lot of ETBs that we don't mind stopping from the opponents too. So it still made the cut as a one of, and I don't think I would drop it necessarily, but all of that's very important to think about. Standard's relatively brutal. There seems to be everything all the time, all at once in the opponent's hand, whatever they need, right? So like when you're playing around something and you're like, well, we could do this, this, and this, but then Sunfall next turn, it's usually going to be that Sunfall, which is pretty scary to think about, honestly. And same concept when you're up against mono red, it's like, well, we just took our turn 3. Are we dead next turn? If like, you know, if we don't block here, or if we block here, do we lose our creature, our big thing? Usually going to be like a monstrous rage or something. And so like when you're playing a janky deck like this, you just gotta unfortunately gotta like anticipate the worst and then play around the worst to your best capabilities, of course, right? So I think maybe had I in that one game played around the double Sunfall a little more, maybe we would have been in that game a little bit longer too. Some other noteworthy things. It's not going to be very often that you activate the Resplendent Angel ability on the opponent's turn, but it is possible in here because of the food tokens. You can activate like 2 food tokens on the opponent's turn. We also have like the Prayer of Binding flashing in on the opponent's turn too. That's only 2 life though, but you could like do that and pop a food token or something, or Prayer of Binding while Elesh Norn's on the board, which is any permanent, not just creature. So you're gaining 4, which means you could gain the last one off of like a Luminous Phantom or something. Like maybe you block with a creature, you lose that creature, you gain that 1 life. So there are ways to get the 4/4 Angel on the opponent's turn, but it's not going to happen very often. And I think we can successfully drop down to just 2 Resplendent Angels, although it is kind of set up to be one of the main win conditions in here. So I'm not going to drop down to 2, but it's something to consider for sure. And at that point too, if we drop it down to 2, the curve is really funny, man. Having all these like two drops and everything, like there's so much that we wanted to pack into the list in general. The Bramble Wurm. Would the 3 green sources in the Titan of Industry have held us up at all? And would Titan of Industry have helped us at all in any of those games? Probably yes to both, right? The mana was a little tricky sometimes. This is a, like, you don't want to call it a splash of green, but it's kind of a splash of green. This is a lot of dual lands. So Titan of Industry probably would have worked. Wanted to give Bramble Wurm a shot though, especially like if you end up milling it off the farmer's ability, right? Sacrifice a food, you mill the 3. You could bring back another permanent, then keep the Bramble Wurm in the grave. And then pay the 3, gain the 5, maybe get an angel off of the Resplendent Angel. It's the same concept if you get Bramble Wurm down in general and then the opponent ends up removing it. You can always activate that ability back from the grave. Unfortunately, a lot of removal happens to be exile removal too, so really neat deck, man. Actually did like the balance overall. The first 2 games kind of felt a little unlucky too, so maybe we could have pulled a little bit more off today. But you guys know me, I don't like blaming luck too much. Definitely know, what would you, let me know, what would you add or take out? Yeah, let me know in the comments for sure. I love reading it. And then while you're down there, make sure you check out that description where we got that Discord link as well as that Patreon link too, if you're interested in supporting the channel that way. This was pretty cool. I don't think I have anything else to say about it though. I do want to bring up Boulderbranch just one more time. I actually really liked this. I don't know where this belongs outside of a deck like this. Like, it definitely just belongs in a deck like this. So I would say like, oh, I want to build with it more, but I don't know. If we build with it more, it's going to be like a different Blink style deck, I would assume, right? So maybe 3 another rounds could have been cool, but probably not. It requires a board state. So if you see 2 or 3 of these and you're not seeing any of your creatures, and like even if you are seeing 1 or 2 of your creatures, they're probably going to die, or they're probably going to end up being having to be chump blockers too. So 2 is probably a sweet spot for this. Actually, I could see 1 another round and going up to 3 fortunes. I actually really liked Fortune. I'm surprised that we were able to do so much with it. I'm surprised it was able to survive the turn and still get the swings too. And also being a 2/4 is pretty, like, it's not bad overall. And the Scry 2 is really good too. So I could see that as well. Again, I'm not going to change anything here, but I could see dropping down to 1 another round and up to 3 fortunes. Okay, guys. Oh, we didn't get to see Case of the Uneaten Feast too, but that's fine. You could probably drop this for some more removal at that point too, though. But I do like all that extra life gain. And the extra life gain helped us stay in it for long enough to actually see enough mana to actually do the cool top end things. So actually, yeah, it kind of like worked out in the long run, even though we didn't win many. Like, it still felt all right. But don't get me wrong, definitely janky. Okay. Okay, enough rambling, huh? I will see you in the next video.